Matt here on another edition of Ask Ron. Ron, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm down here in Florida where the weather's great. All that noise in the background is our global staff. We're having our annual Christmas luncheon, and they're kind of loud back there. So excuse them. So, man, it's good. It's good. And looking forward to a good year next year in the real estate business. And I'm sure we're going to have one.
That's right. All right. Ron, we have 6 questions today.
All right.
And the first one is from Patty, who is in Tennessee.
Patty in Tennessee.
Patty says, I was about to set up my private lending website, but noticed you had equity trust mentioned in the videos. I've heard you say that you recommend Quest now. Will you be updating the videos soon with Quest, or should I go ahead and set up the website with equity trust being mentioned?
Well, I used to use Equity Trust. I got away from them. Their fees started to get to be real high, and I have other issues with them that I'm not going to talk about here. I've been using Quest Trust in Texas for quite a while. And there's also New View in Orlando, which is a spinoff of the one in Texas. The guy went from Texas to Orlando. That's NUVU. And it don't make any difference as long as they're self-directed. None of them sending me money, so it doesn't matter which one you set it up with, as long as it's self-directed, and all 3 of those are. I will mention that New View in Orlando also sets up your solo 401ks for you if you've been trained on that, where I don't believe Quest does. So either way, you can put up a Quest and still use them to set up the solo 401k if necessary. The point is get it set up. That's great. But now you got to start leveraging it into real estate. Take a $100 deposit out of your IRA and go flip a house, make 20 grand, and then it comes back into your IRA. Setting it up ain't gonna do you any good if you don't use it. And while you're buying houses, just decide which ones you want to put in your IRA and which ones you don't. All flippers should go in your IRA. All wholesale deals, and you can put lease options in your IRA as well, and it don't get taxed. Unrelated business income tax. But if you buy houses in there that involve owner financing or subject to, then it will trigger UBIT, and that means you'll pay taxes when you sell the property. So it's good to have an IRA, but it's also good to have a solo 401k, and we have a lesson on that, I believe, on the Go Club training. Right?
We do. That's right. It's actually a recent lesson in the last month. Yeah. So go ahead and make sure you check that out, Patty.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our next 2 questions. They are from Isabelle, who is in Texas.
Hi, Isabelle.
Isabelle says, you recently did an interview on Underground Wealth Solutions where you mentioned a recent conversation you had with Scott Horn, and you learned about the 6-month rule for lease option buyers. Could you go over that a little and discuss the points that you and him talked about?
Well, I didn't learn about it then. I knew it for a long time, but every time I talked to an attorney out there, they said, we don't do them here, and that's because they didn't understand them. Scott clearly understands them and clearly laid out the rules to me. And the rules are, you can lease purchase and take a non-refundable deposit as long as that option doesn't last more than 6 months. You just got to make sure that they get notified no later than that 159th day that their option is going to expire in writing. And you need to have that, of course, in your file, because that's the one that will get you in trouble. However, there is no rule that says they can't stay in the house and keep paying you rent even after the 6 months. So you have to make it clear to the seller buyer up front. You got 6 months to buy it, but if that time goes by and you still want to buy it within a reasonable time, I can still give you credit for your deposit, or even all of it if you want. I would not put that deal in writing though, just for the heck of it. Scott Horn will explain this to you very clearly, but you don't even need to worry about it until you get a property to talk about. He will close it for you. I think he told me you close the lease option for $750. But if you're buying it with owner financing, it's going to cost more than that, because there's rules in Texas that he has to comply with. You have to have an attorney close it if you buy it with owner financing in Texas now, or subject to.
All right. And to follow up on that question a little bit, Isabel's second question is, there are many forms in the Gold Club labeled for use in Texas, and some of those are dated a year or 2 or a few more back. Are these still current, even with the new information regarding the 6-month rule for lease option buyers?
You're going to want to use a option agreement provided to you by Scott, or whoever you're going to use, that's for sure, for Texas. And look at my lease agreement. If you he wants to add something, that's fine with me, but I've got stuff in mind. When I lease it from the seller, that's a very special agreement with a lot of cool stuff in there to protect you. So you better be careful about having my agreements replaced. And by the way, we have a lesson on the Gold Club where I went through all of those agreements too. There's another one on ronlegrand.com/terms. We went through all of those agreements, including the lease option agreement with the seller. You have a different agreement when you put a tenant buyer in there. Frankly, I would just let him handle those agreements. But there's a lot of stuff in my agreement that when I'm leasing it from the seller that if you want to use another agreement, you need to import some of that stuff into the agreement you're using. And I point that out in that lesson on the Gold Club site. And I don't know if Scott's been told about all that stuff or not, to be honest with you. But that's only if you're leasing it from the seller. Okay? If you're buying it from the seller with owner financing or subject to, you need an attorney to close it. And then the lease option on the other end is easy. Just let Scott handle those documents. But one thing I point out, make sure that the option agreement clearly states that the repairs are the responsibility of the buyer, and that's a condition of the option. And so that will make sure there's no security deposit, or if there is, it's a very small one, because you have to give that back when they move. You don't give back the option deposit. And you know what? Scott knows what to do. Let him be the attorney. He'll tell you exactly how to handle it. But you should get a contract to buy it from a seller first, and then get schooled by him on what to do thereafter.
All right, there you go, Isabelle. Moving on to the next question. This one is from Perzina, who is in Georgia.
Georgia, okay.
Perzina says, I own an LLC and my name and address show up on public record. If I use this LLC as the trustee for the land trust, will the property be kept private?
Yeah, the trustee has nothing to do with who owns the property. And the LLC is not you. It's an alter ego. So, yeah, the beneficial interest of the trust is nowhere on public records, therefore it does not show up on the state records.
Perfect.
And you as the trustee have a fiduciary relationship not to disclose who the beneficial interest is. So you can't disclose that you're it. So nobody can find out unless they subpoena that information, or you go to a deposition and they ask you that question. And it doesn't matter anyway, because if you spend a little time with me, we'll show you how to set up your assets so that they can't get them even though they know you got them. And in fact, the law firm to do that happens to be in Dallas.
All right. There you go, Perzina.
We got an upcoming Structuring Your Empire half a day of seminar coming up. You guys look out for that, because that's coming up in January 11th, I think. And I'll be teaching it live. And Bob Bloom, which is the attorney for the Texas law firm, which services the whole country, he will be on that with me as an attorney. He'll also discuss the things that most people don't know, how delicate their LLCs are and how easy they are to penetrate just going online and filling it out on your own state and trying to eliminate the need for an attorney. So I'm going to ask Bob a lot of questions concerning asset protection, entity structuring, estate planning, the whole works. It's going to be a dynamic day, I'll tell you that. So set aside January 11th right now.
That's right, and the best part about it, this event is free.
Free?
Free.
We're doing it for free?
For free, yep. Can't beat free. All right, moving on to the next question. This one's from Mariana, who is out in Hawaii. Mariana says, can I assign a seller finance deal just like a wholesale deal if I don't want to fix and flip it myself?
Yes, you can. Nothing more than assignment. It's the same assignment of contract. It's just a terms contract rather than an all-cash contract. And frankly, that's where the term acts come from, assignment of contracts and term system.
All right. There you go, Mariana. And then, Ron, we're up to our last question today. This one's from Donald, who's with us in Florida.
Okay.
Donald says, I am new to the Gold Club. How do I get a mentor?
How do you get a mentor? Well, actually, the best thing to do is just call our office and they'll explain it all to you. It's 800-567-6128. 800-567-6128. And tell them you're interested in mentoring, and they'll give you a whole scoop. We have 12 of them right now.
All right.
All good, too.
Yes,
all good people.
That is for sure. Ron, I think that's all the questions we have for today.
Well, that was easy. I thought you were going to give me a hard question. Okay. Listen, you guys and gals, you have a Merry Christmas. And I'll see you again before New Year's. But have a Merry Christmas. I want you to be thinking about what are you going to do next year? Are we going to get moving next year? Are we going to make it the best year of our entire life? And if not next year, when? Putting it off doesn't do anything but make you older and older and older every single year and get you nowhere. It's not going to be easy to learn a whole new business, but it's certainly going to be worth it. When you should see the letters on our walls in this building from people all over the country and some outside the country. Some of them making staggering amounts of money, more than one could reasonably expect someone could make in a year. Some of them are making, in fact, many of them are making more money on one deal than most people make working on the job all year. You guys are on the Gold Club. You really need to get involved in this business. That will require Quick Start School and the mentoring. Why don't you call our office and let them explain it all to you, no obligation. And we got new financing now as well. We got financing with as low as with nothing down now. So we're doing our best to help folks get in it that couldn't get in it before. And you can stretch out the payments up to 84 months now, where we had them on short term. So get all over our office right now. Do it today. Do it before Christmas. It is before Christmas, right? Yeah, it's Friday before Christmas. Okay, make this a Christmas present to yourself. Tell them Ron told me to do it on the Q&A session